you doing? I'm Ken Walls. I'm the CEO and founder of Client Solution Innovations. Really appreciate you coming by, checking out the new show here on CFF Nation. We are the social highway. The show is going to be about how to utilize social media, how to utilize your website, generate better websites, do things like that that are going to help overall in the transportation industry. Been doing this since professionally, I started doing what I do in the social media world and website development, search engine optimization, all of that since about 2002. I remember one of the first clients I had he'd never heard of Google. So Google was still in its infancy and nowhere near what it is today. As we all know, we all go to Google when we're looking for anything. So it's become incredibly important. It's replaced the phone book. It's replaced those yellow things that people search through and all that. So welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming by. I'll tell you a little bit about me and the company and where all this began. When I was about 11 years old, 10 or 11 years old, I ended up with a computer. It was called a Commodore 64C. Was the very first computer I had. You literally wrote lines and lines and lines and lines of code. You backed it up to a cassette tape, and that it would take you 3 days to write the code to get a little white blip to blip around on the screen and bounce around. And I was always intrigued with that and how that worked. So I always stayed in very close contact with computers and programming and stuff like that. Yes, I'm a geek. I'm a geek with a little bit of personality, I like to think. But I really enjoy computers and what they've done to help businesses grow across this entire globe. So hopefully I'll be able to cover some of that for you, help untangle some things for you that may be going on. I don't know, but why the company started was in 2002. I had a major life change. Decided that I was too friendly with alcohol, and decided that I would go clean on that and stop drinking, and so I was literally at that point in my life I felt hopeless, and a friend of mine asked me about helping his wife out with a website situation in 2002 where she was literally being held hostage by a couple of guys that they were trying to charge her tens of thousands of dollars to do some stuff. And long story short, I was able to go in and help her. And then I did it in like 24 hours and she offered to pay me money. I was like, well, okay, but I was just doing it as a favor. And she's like, you don't even know what you've saved me. And so, my buddy's like, dude, think about it. There's got to be like so many other people out there that need help. And so I've developed this company over the years. I actually started this company. I started out freelancing back when I did that, and I did that for several years. And then back at the end of 07, 08, beginning of 08, I decided to really get serious, and I started this company, CSI. At the time, I had just gotten out of a horrible divorce, and I take full responsibility. I had a part in it. We all play a part in everything that goes on. So, I came out of this divorce, and I was like, what am I going to do? And a buddy of mine was letting me crash at his place, and he got tired of hearing me mope around and be all sad and feeling sorry for myself. So he finally said, dude, you need to get out of my house and get your own place. And I was like, well, that's not really very nice. But he's like, dude, serious. And he may have even dropped a couple of choice words in there as he was describing my departure from his residence. And so I was like, dude, I don't have any money. I've got nothing. He literally loaned me $20. Back then, I smoked cigarettes, and I remember I bought a pack of cigarettes that day. They were like $3 a pack back then, and I had $17 left. And I thought, I'm going to take $10, put it in my gas tank. I'll have $7 left for the dollar menu at McDonald's, and I'm just going to go make it happen. And I'm going to find somebody that needs help with their website or whatever. And so I went out and I just started knocking on doors, and I banged on doors all day long. Finally ran into a guy that said, yeah, you can do some tweaks on my website. I'll give you $600. Here's $300 down. And I'm like, geez, I mean, honestly, at that moment, that $300 felt like $300 million. I mean, I to this day, I'm still grateful for that. And I remember I stayed up all night long making all of these changes to his website, doing the stuff that he wanted with graphics and a bunch of other stuff. And I got a few hours sleep, and I got everything done and uploaded to his server and changed. And I was like, man, I did it. And I called him, and I'm like, I did it. And he checked it out, and he's like, dude, come and get your other $300. You rock. And I was like, man, it felt so good. Not the money as much. Well, I mean, the money was unbelievable. Like, seriously, $600 at that moment to me, I'm not kidding. It could have been $1 million. Wouldn't have had much of a different impact. So on me emotionally. But what felt great was I helped somebody else out. I went out and I hustled. I made it happen. And I worked my rear end off to get there. And so, you know, that's where this company started. And now today I've got, you know, this show on CFF Nation. I've got another show on another network. I've got, you know, a huge global company. I've got an unbelievable team that works here with me. And honestly, it's just, it's such a blessing to me to be where we are today. You know, we're one of the top rated search engine optimization companies in the world. We're unbelievably good at developing websites, and we're really, really good at the social media part of it. I literally just had somebody call me up a little bit ago who's actually in the kind of the transportation world. He owns a company here in Columbus, Ohio, where he does, you know, auto. They do a lot. They're a huge company. They do auto, like tinting and the clear bras and the sound systems and all of that. And he's like, dude, I need you to help me put together a couple of big ads for the holidays. And we're blasting those all over Facebook now for him. And that literally blows him up. And he knows how that works. So, you know, he's been a client of mine for a long time. So, you know, we're going to put together a lot of things here to really, really help you explode in your industry, help you really connect with your employees and everybody else. So we're getting ready to take a quick break. If you'll stay with us, when we come back, we're going to talk about social media. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Ken Walls, CEO and founder of Client Solution Innovations. You can find me on Twitter at CEO_CSI. Visit our website, which is up on the screen behind me, clientsi.com, or call here to our office. My email address, by the way, is ken@clientsi.com. Feel free to email me with any questions at any time. So I want to talk about, you know, I have so many a lot of different success stories with social media. I mean, a tremendous amount of stories. I'm on Periscope. I just did a live Periscope, and I think we had, 90 or 100 people jump on while I was doing this Periscope right before we started shooting the show. Social media has gone absolutely crazy, and if you think that people are not on it, you're wrong. I promise you're wrong. The majority of this planet is on some form of social media. Facebook is obviously the largest out there. And then, Renren in China is the largest, but we don't use it, so, But Facebook is humongous. It's huge. There's 90+% of the American population has a Facebook account. So it's very, very relevant. So we did some, I had an idea. I thought, let's look up the top 10 trucking companies in the United States. And then let's go look at their Facebook pages, their Twitter pages, their Instagram. Let's look at all of that and compare some of the stats and some of the numbers and see where everybody is. And I'm not going to mention them. You can find them for yourself. All you have to do is go to Google and type in top 10 trucking companies in the United States, and you'll quickly find out who they are. But I have some interesting statistics, and I had a sneaky suspicion that this was going to be what we found out. And this is what we discovered, because we're here to help the transportation industry identify ways to maximize social media, utilize it, and grow your business, grow your base with your customers and with your employees, the people out there on the road working for you. So look at this. Let's talk about this. Of the top 10 trucking companies, there are only 2 of the top 10 that are consistently using Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. 2. That's that 80-20 rule we all have heard about over and over and over, right? That 20% of the companies out there bring in 80% of the revenue. The top 20% are the big dogs. They're the big dogs, right? So only 2. 3 out of these 10 are not even on Facebook at all. Can't find them anywhere. Cannot find them. 5 out of the 10 are not using Twitter, and 5 out of the 10 are not using Instagram. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are the 3 largest social media platforms out there. Unless you count YouTube, and it does count. YouTube's incredibly relevant and important. We'll save that for a totally different show. But YouTube cannot be written off. It's probably, I haven't even looked at the stats, but it's right up there with Facebook, if not bigger. It's huge. It's the 2nd largest search engine in the world, owned by the largest search engine in the world, which is Google. But let's think about this. 3 out of 10 are not using Facebook. 5 out of 10 are not using Twitter, and 5 out of 10 are not using Instagram. Why? Why wouldn't they be? And I can tell you why they wouldn't be. I've heard all of the stories, okay? All of the stories from people who thought, I don't need social media. I don't need it. I don't need Facebook. Oh, Facebook, that's for high school kids and college kids. I don't need that stuff. Well, here's the bottom line, okay? I have a very good friend who is an attorney, and for years I said, look, man, you got to have a Facebook page. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that high school crap. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, man. So then one day I was in his office just visiting, and I was sitting around. I said, dude, I'm doing a Facebook page for you. I'm creating a Facebook page. We're getting you on Facebook, and we're going to, a company page, and so he's like, whatever, dude, go do it. And so I grabbed one of his junior attorneys, and him and I sat, and we built out this Facebook page real quick. Came back to my office. I shared it out with all of my friends on Facebook and on my company page. And he literally, it wasn't even, I'll bet you it was an hour or 2 later, I get a message from this girl, says, hey, call me. I call her. She's like, hey, her mom is a doctor, and she runs the practice. And she's like, we need a new attorney. Who's this guy you put out on Facebook earlier? I said, oh, it's a good friend of mine. He's a client of mine, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, he ended up with a several $1,000 contract within 24 hours of having his Facebook page up and live. Facebook works. That's one story out of thousands of stories I could sit here and tell you. I don't have the time for that, okay? Here's what's really, really interesting about these top 10 trucking companies, okay? The top 10 trucking companies, the ones that, the two that are consistently using Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, those 2 companies, are you guys ready for this? The 2 out of the 10 are also the 2 largest in dollar and revenue volume on an annual basis. So there's something there, okay? There's something there. So if you're not using the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you're not using all of that stuff, it's time. It's going to run right over you, pardon the pun, but it's going to run over you like a truck, okay? It's going to run right over you. Your competitors are doing it, and they're crushing you if you're not using it, I promise. And if they're not crushing you yet, they're going to crush you. You got to be on there. So listen, look, we're not going anywhere. We'll be back. We're going to shoot another episode. We'll be back next week. We're going to cover a lot more stuff. Really appreciate you guys being on here. You be awesome, and keep watching The Social Highway.